then they can't talk.
Okay.
But it's a limited number of people, I believe.
Gotcha.
So,
All right. So I think we are live,
nice.
but that doesn't like I tell
Now,
I
do you like if people come on and join while you're live, are they able to type in like questions or comments or anything like that?
They can, but we never have listeners actually live watching.
No.
No. I get views like after the fact because like on Twitch when you do a live stream, the video, your stream disappears after like 7 days.
Hmm.
But on YouTube, it lives on YouTube forever, like as a regular video. So I make a
Right.
thumbnail and everything. Like after the stream, I have like a generic thumbnail right now. But then after the stream, I'll upload the thumbnail and everything, and then like we'll get a couple of views afterwards.
Nice.
But yeah, no, if you go on YouTube right now, I'm on my phone, I could see us like live right now. But it's always like on a delay.
Now, do you ever post on like Instagram or Facebook or anything like, "Hey, we're live," like, come and join us or anything?
I have, but it's just again like I need to start. That's the one thing I'm lacking on is like, hey, we're live. Or like you could do a countdown, but it's just I don't know. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. But like most of the time, a lot of it has just been troubleshooting, like making sure that this site that I use actually works because we run into so many bumps.
Yeah.
So with it, but like I said, once I get a computer, it'll be a lot easier. So all right, if you just want to start recording, because what I'll do is like we'll just start recording, or wait, just let me do a countdown because I'll match
Whatever
up
you
our
want.
audio.
Okay.
Because then like I'll just whenever I want to start in the editing for the actual audio episode, that's when I'll cut and like wherever I want to start.
Yeah.
So like no pressure or anything to be like, oh shit, like are we recording? Like no. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so now I'm recording on GarageBand.
And I'm recording.
At least I think. Wait. Son of a bitch. Hello? Okay. Yeah, it's recording. Okay. Cool. So yeah. How do you like the layout?
This is cool. I like it. It's you got all your Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Looks nice.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I like throw this all together very quickly and like I've just been using it, but yeah. So like I said, we've had like so many issues with it, but
Is that a train
yeah.
I hear?
Yeah, that's the only thing that cuts in the back.
Jeez.
Yeah, we're right near the train tracks.
Did they stop after 10 o'clock?
I don't know. No, not really. But usually most of the time in my actual audio, because I have like a filter that cuts out background noise, most of the time it will cut out the train. But sometimes like you can hear a train in the background.
Oh, I just mean like in life. Like, does that train not blow its horn after 10 o'clock? Because if 1 o'clock it's blowing its horn, I'd be fucking pissed.
No, it goes all night. It doesn't really bother me.
Wow.
I think it's kind of cool.
Really? All right.
Marissa drives her nuts, of course, but
yeah, I'd be there with Marissa.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but thank you, man, for coming on. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I like to talk. I think it'll be fun to talk about something. We'll touch on some horror stuff, of course, because of the topics that we'll be discussing. But I also like to talk about other things too. So this will be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, sure. Okay, should I just Because every time, like sometimes, like we'll just be in the middle of a conversation, and then I'll just start like getting into the topics, or sometimes I'll just do an actual intro, and maybe I'll just do like an actual intro this time.
Yeah, go
Um,
for it.
we kind of do it differently every time. How do you pronounce your last name? McCutcheon?
McCutcheon. Yeah.
McCutcheon. Okay, I did have it right.
My God, Dan, you're HR. You did my onboarding. Like what?
I don't know, dude. Dude, the shit I could tell you. All right. Yeah, so we'll get into all your stuff and we'll talk about like horror and everything, and then just like the last half we'll just talk about. I just want to talk about like all the Comic-Con stuff because I know there was some stuff you
That's
wanted to bring.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like there's some horror things on the Comic-Con things that were announced.
Perfect. All right, awesome. So I'm probably not familiar with a lot of it. Like so you can educate me on some of it. But yeah, no, cool. All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Next Round on Me podcast. I am joined here by a very special guest tonight, Rich McCutcheon from the Horror Script podcast. Rich, how are you?
Great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So I was on Rich's podcast recently, the Horror Script podcast. I was part of a Chucky series that you did. You went over every episode of the Chucky series, the TV series that's going on right now, and you've been doing a lot of cool stuff with that. And we also got a collab coming out pretty soon of an episode where we go over The Hills Have Eyes, which I was a big fan of doing that. So it's
Yeah,
been a
that was
lot of
fun.
fun, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. No, that was cool. Yeah, that was really great with the Chucky series. Everybody really worked out on that. It was fun. All 8 episodes we went through, and then the season 2 comes back in October. So I might do another round of that actually because I just enjoyed it. It was fun having people on. So I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched the rest of the series or not.
I got into like episode 3 and then I fell off a little bit, but I was following your little
Uh,
series the
you
entire
got
way.
yeah,
So
you gotta keep going with it because the whole it just gets better and better.
yeah,
So if you can just finish the series, you'll love it.
I know. I don't have enough time to. There's so much. But anyway, no. But tell me before we even get into it, tell everyone about a little bit about your podcast, the Horror Script podcast, and what you do over on your show there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, me and my brother, so like you said, the Horror Script podcast, we started doing movie reviews because we grew up on horror movies and we love them. And I heard a couple of the really big horror podcasts that do movie reviews, and I kind of got a little pissed because they were just they were watching like movies that were real dog shit, and they were saying how great they were and how great the actors were, and I'm like, no, that's not the truth. Like you're so full of shit. Did somebody pay you to do this? So and I was like, all right. So I got to my brother and I'm like, Miles, we got to do a podcast. Let's do it. Like our honest opinions on all horror movies. We love them, I know, but there's some that just suck. So I just want to
Right.
give an honest review. And he's like, yeah, all right, let's do it. And it took me a while to get him on, but eventually he came around. He started. We were going pretty strong for a little bit, and then his work got tied up. He tied him up a little bit, so we had to take a break, and that's why I did the Chucky series. And then he'll our next episode is going to air on Thursday that you joined us on for The Hills of Eyes. So it
Yeah.
was a nice fun reunion for that. I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I do miss when we used to back on this show, we used to do movie recommendations. And that's kind of I always kind of say this show is a little bit movie adjacent. I'm kind of a big movie person. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun to just okay, we're just gonna do an episode where we just talk about one movie that we watched and just gush about it or shit on it or whatever we want to do. So that was really refreshing for me to do. So I really enjoyed it. But yeah, no, and I really liked your Chucky series. You had a lot of cool guests on every episode. I mean, you already in this small amount of time of doing your podcast, you've already have this cool little series that you did with all these different people, which man, it's been cool to see. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you were saying that you just so I was gonna ask what made you want to get into the podcast thing. So I know you said that like so you just kind of were hearing a bunch of people doing horror podcasts and you were like, I could do this shit better, or you just threw your hat into the ring and thought you had something different to say, basically, or
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just I always liked the whole idea of being a critic because I used to work at Blockbuster and
right.
I always got the questions of, what should I watch? We had all genres like, romantic comedies, actions, thrillers, horror, you know, drama, whatever. And it was really what the people were in the mood for, but I always just loved giving those recommendations. And me and my brother were very in the horror. I mean, he's way above and beyond me. I mean, he is expert level. Like he really is. He knows his shit and he knows the people that are involved in it way beyond even what I can comprehend. But we love it. And I listened to so many podcasts and I thought this is a great platform to just reach out to people and talk and interact and just let's see if this could be anything and if it can get successful. So it started to take off. So we're 7 months in, so we're hopefully going to do this for quite a few years, and see how well it goes.
Yeah, no, it's been so cool to see. But and funny, I was always thinking about, horror and the horror genre is such a big niche thing, especially for film nerds. Like some of the biggest film critics and nerds I know, their whole thing is horror. They're
Yeah,
all horror is their bread and butter, and that whole genre, and it has such a big fan base. Like you don't have that kind of fan base for, I guess you can say, fantasy, but it's such a strong presence, like the horror fan base, like
yeah.
specifically horror. So I mean, what is it about horror that you love so much? Like what got you into it so much? Was it just watching it as a kid? What is about like the horror genre that just really gets you going? Is it like the monsters? Is it just the killing? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's different. It's different from pretty much everything else
Mm,
because in in horror, there's so many different concepts of like, well, we can have a ghost in this movie, or we can just have a serial killer in this one, or this could be a ghost and a serial killer. Like you could pretty much do anything with it. It's almost along the lines of fantasy, but people die.
right. Yeah, no
It's
one
a
ever
little
died in Game of Thrones.
well,
I was just kidding.
that's true. Yeah, no, um yeah, but I don't know what it is. I love the thrill of being scared and being
Okay.
on the edge of your seat of I don't know what's going to happen. And Game of Thrones did do that, not pretty much not really the scare aspect of that, but I also love scaring people. So it's one of those things where if I could make a horror movie, I would love to do it. Um, but I don't my brother, yeah, I think he might actually have the talent to write something and put it together and direct it. I think he actually would be really good at that. I think I would be good at assisting in that, but I love seeing people get scared. Um,
Right, right.
I used to scare the shit out of my brother all the time. Of course, I was the bigger brother, and I just used to torture him sometimes. But uh, and I get it from my parents because my parents used to scare. They used to scare my sisters. They used to scare us. My mom scared me once so bad when I was 6, I threw up. So
Jesus Christ.
I'll never forget it. I was only 6, but I'll never forget it. And it's probably one of my favorite memories. Like I love it. It was fucking hilarious.
You are quickly becoming my favorite family in the podcast circuit, you and your brother and everyone and all the stories that I hear between you guys. No, that's so cool. And again, I love everything that you guys have been doing with your show so far. And just for anyone that doesn't know just how we originally met, you and I used to work together for a
Yeah.
while. So that's how our paths crossed. So that was some
Yeah.
good times.
Yeah, we
But
got along really, really well, really quickly. So
yeah, and
I
turned out
like
we're
that.
both huge nerds. So
Hey.
um You always find
Everybody is in
someone.
a way.
Yeah. Uh, so one thing I did definitely want to ask you is I don't think I've ever asked you this because I never knew. I always knew you were a big movie buff and you were into horror and stuff, but what are some of your obviously, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Ooh.
What is some of your favorite franchises, characters, any like favorite memories? Like this, I want to hear all of it.
Yeah, so Chucky's a favorite of mine. Um,
Hmm.
from the original Child's Play, just because it was nostalgic and we grew up on it. Uh, I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I love all the main, the main villains, but
Right.
they were some of my favorite. And it's hard to say that I have a favorite horror movie because I really, really enjoy like so many of them. I'm trying to think of maybe one that would have given me like the creeps, like kind of really scared me, I guess. But
Hmm.
I'm so desensitized anymore that it's very rare that anything even happens like that. The Gate is one of my favorites.
Okay.
That's an older '80s movie with Steven Dorff.
Uh huh.
We did it. We actually
is that more like a slasher, like a like monster villain, or is it like a
It's a demonic gates of hell open and the demons come out and they're trying to close it back up before it takes over the world.
hmm.
Uh, but it's a fun movie and it's surprisingly only rated PG-13.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, yeah.
It,
And
it's just
it's
it's
really close to pushing that boundary.
oh yeah, always gotta love that. Like it's again, it's so funny because I'm kind of discovering horror. I was never a big horror person, but I never that I was opposed to it. I just never really found too many horror franchises that you know clinged on to me. I always was a big fan. I like the alternative cult ones. I'm a big fan of Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I love uh, Cabin in the Woods is one of my favorites. I don't know if you ever
Yeah,
seen
I could
that.
see that. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
could see you
very
liking that a lot.
very meta horror
Yeah.
movie. That was an awesome one. And someone actually we did have a question about what was your favorite horror movie on our show, and I said Cabin in the Woods, and I'm thinking I'm forgetting one that I just there's a few that just stand out that I love so much, and I remembered it as soon as we were done recording, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't say Jennifer's Body. Have you
Oh,
ever seen
really?
Have you ever seen Jennifer's Body?
I started watching it, but I never finished it. Something happened where I couldn't finish it, and then I forgot about it. But was Megan Fox actually? Did she do a good job in that?
Yes. So this is a fact. Megan's Body. Like I actually looked it up, and
You mean
I'll do
Jennifer's
like
body?
or Jennifer's Body. I always keep saying Megan's Body, Jennifer's Body,
Yeah,
because it's
I
just you
wonder
think
why.
It's Megan Fox. She
Yeah,
plays Megan Fox. I don't know.
yeah,
She's not playing a character, but it was funny because that movie was marketed very, I believe, very differently than what the actual intent of the movie was supposed to be, because the marketing was all just Megan Fox hot, and it was
hmm
just very generic, just kind
yeah,
of selling it as a real horror movie. But when you watch it, I'm fully convinced that they were going for a full on horror comedy tone. They're riffing on the fact that Megan Fox is like a bimbo and all of her friends are bimbos, and it's riffing on the cliches of horror movies. And I can't tell you, like, some of the one liners in Jennifer's Body are some of the funniest. I don't know what it is about why I love that movie so much. It's just such great comedy, and it's making fun of a lot of the horror cliches of, just like Cabin in the Woods kind of does something similar. So
yeah.
I don't know why I'm gravitated towards those movies especially, but no, I mean, I say to this day, one of the best theater experiences I ever had was in recent memory was me and my buddy Jason. We went to go see Halloween 2018 in the theater,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
and I was just kind of at the time getting into like John Carpenter, and I knew the classic Halloween theme. And I remember like watching that Halloween movie in the theater and like just jumping at all the scares and be like, oh, this fucker's gonna get it. Like, I didn't feel scared. I just felt like in the
Yeah.
Halloween mood and the spirit, that fall vibe, and just it yeah, and I was like, I walked out of there being like, yeah, no, I get the horror genre now. But more in like but in the stuff that you were listing, like Chucky and
Nightmare on Elm
Nightmare
Street.
on Elm Street, like, it's just I don't know, it's more that slasher, like the classic villain characters.
They
Like have
yeah,
you
they are slashers. And like and John, like you said, John Carpenter, he did the Halloween, and I loved Halloween too. I love Michael Myers, but and just to give you one that's not a slasher from John Carpenter actually, The Fog. His
that's the next one I gotta watch.
Yeah, I can't remember the remake. I'm trying to think if I saw it or not, because I don't remember if it was really good or not, and I don't remember seeing it, so I might just not have seen it. But the original that he came out with in the 80s, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
So do the original first if before you watch the remake, just in case. But I know the original was really good.
Yeah, no, I'm so far. I saw one of his more abstract ones, Starman, I think. But I saw like all the other great ones, Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, of
The
course, is a
Thing,
classic,
yeah.
one of my favorites, The Thing kind of horror, you could say.
Yeah, The Thing is
And
horror. It's more of
yeah,
a
yeah,
science fiction horror,
right. Yeah, yeah, no. Oh my god, I love The Thing. And
like Aliens.
yeah, of course. And what was the other one? Oh, Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
They are
Those
great.
were
Snake
they
Plissken.
were Snake
Plis,
Plissken.
Plissken.
God,
Plissken. Yes.
is there any more of
Man,
a badass than that
it's
guy?
Kurt Russell. Yeah, you know what's
Kurt
funny?
Russell.
When I was in Manhattan, when I used to work in Manhattan, and I took my sister and her kid to Central Park, and
Hmm.
we were standing, and her daughter was playing up on the rocks. There's, in Central Park, there's these like big rocks in the middle of the parks in some
Hmm.
locations, and she's up there playing on them with all these other kids and stuff. And she's playing with this one kid, and I'm standing there, and then I guess that I thought their parents were standing right next to me, and I'm just standing there watching, and I hear people, and they're like, "Oh, blah 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 blah," the murmuring and stuff. And
Get the fuck out.
I'm looking around, I'm like, "What's going on?" And I hear somebody say, "That's Susan Sarandon," and I'm like, or no, wait, no, it's not Susan Sarandon. Fuck, that's Goldie Hawn. And I'm like, I look over, and it's this woman, and she's got like big glasses on. She had this hat on, and I was like, that's not Goldie Hawn. But I turned over to my other shoulder, and I'm like 2 inches away from Kurt Russell. And I like look over at,
No.
oh yeah, I look over at him. I'm like, I guess it is Goldie Hawn because that's fucking sure as hell Kurt Russell. Wow. I was like,
What?
oh, so they're watching their granddaughter play on the rocks with my niece. I'm like, cool. So it's
Wow.
like, I didn't say anything or anything because you're in New York, and it just
Right.
everybody's relaxing and stuff. And I'm like, they're already being gawked at. I'm not going to be like, hey,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but yeah, no, it was cool. And and they were just chilling, but, it was like, his head he's got a big head, like,
Yeah.
and I'm not talking figuratively. He's just it's large in presence, and it's not a bad thing. It's just,
Right.
like, he's just, you're like, holy shit, like, you're a big guy, like, not he nor it's hard to explain, but he had this
The
presence
presence.
about him that, yeah, I was like, fucking wow, it's Kurt Russell, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, Kurt Russell. Yeah, but what I was gonna say was, there's you list a lot of like I think classic 80s franchises, like the ones that I would want to get into, where they're every one of those franchises has a classic villain character, right? Like your Freddy Krueger's, your Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. But I mean, like, do you like to me those are more fun, blockbustery, classic 80s. They all fit that category of classic character. I'm talking like, what about like movies? Because I can't really think of examples. Like I always say Insidious, or like those
Mhm.
just really, or like
But
Saw. I mean, I guess they
yeah.
have Jigsaw, but like like do you, are you into those movies? Like
Yeah.
I've seen some movies where like it's straight torture porn.
Oh,
Like to
yeah.
me those are the movies that are really meant to, I'm like I literally remember, I'm trying to think of it. I scarred me for life. It was this
Oh,
movie where
Hostel?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, honestly, but it was basically like I just remember that maybe I can, this is the only thing I remember. So these people basically were getting tortured in the night. I don't remember if it was like a found footage or what the deal was, but basically all I remember was it was a night vision camera, and all of this family or all of these people in the middle of the night, there was an in-ground pool in their backyard, and they are all strapped to their beds. Like someone in the middle of the night took all of this demon from hell, took all of their beds down to the middle of the night, strapped them to their beds in their sleep or something, or said like, knocked them out or something. And then there's like a pulley that just drags all the beds into this in-ground pool and like just drowns them like alive. And it was,
Wow.
and then at the very end of the movie, it was the most eeriest thing. Like it was made to, it just things that are just made to scar you, just
Yeah.
have people getting tortured in the worst way possible. I can't, I know the Saw movies get a little like way too over the top, but
The
I,
more recent ones do.
yeah. But that stuff, like that stuff that I'm describing, again, I don't have a good frame of reference, but like those kind of movies you're
Mhm.
into as well.
Well, see, there's the thing. It's like sometimes there's movies that are created that that's all it is. It's just watching people get tortured, and it's like, well, there's no storyline behind it. There's no point to it. Like they
Right.
sometimes they suck. Like Hostel. Hostel's a torture porn movie. And it's
Mm-hmm.
about these kids who they're backpacking through Europe and they go into a hostel, but the hostel's set up where they are kidnapping the people and they're actually taken to some secret place where these rich people pay to torture them. And it's like when they get an American, they have to pay extra because it's an American and there's a higher risk or something like that. But
Jesus.
you're just watching people get fucking burned alive, their face melted, and cut and stabbed and whatever.
Oh, I can't do it. Like it's
Mm,
made to make you not sleep at night, which I guess there is an art to that for sure.
right,
But you're saying that that's not something you usually gravitate toward if it's strictly just for that purpose.
right. Like I want a point. You know what I mean.
Right.
I want a storyline. Make it make sense. Saw
Mhm.
started developing into this type of torture porn, but when it originally came out, it was fucking brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
it, there was a little bit of that torture type, the booby traps and stuff, but the storyline itself was just almost genius. I mean, actually, it was genius. It was so shocking, and how it ended and everything. It's just, I love it when it's like that. And then there's other movies that try and do it where they do the twist at the end, but it's like it's either such a stupid twist at the end that they ruin the movie, or you just saw it
Mhm.
coming a mile away and you're like, no, you just no. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's hard to find them, but they exist out there where they're really good and they're done really, really well.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I like so okay, so here's a question because I we actually had this conversation on a past episode. Sorry audience, but I have to ask your opinion as a horror person. What is your take on the Paranormal Activity franchise? Cuz I had a whole rant about it.
So funny, I've only seen one.
Okay. Okay.
So The only one I've seen, and I just haven't gotten around to watching them. We will, and I'm sure we'll do reviews on them and stuff, because it's this found footage documentary type movies that started back probably with the Blair Witch.
Right. That's a whole genre, found footage now.
Yeah, exactly. And Paranormal Activity went big onto that. And I kind of liked it, because there was some parts in it where you're like, well, that's fucked up. They did that pretty well, and it's creepy, and there were some good things about it, but all it was this found footage of them pretty much going to sleep or walking around the house trying to find something. So if you like watching people that don't know you're watching them, maybe that's up your alley. So, but for
Yeah.
me, yeah, I mean, it's probably not something I'm gonna watch over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But
Gotcha.
there were some enjoyable moments in it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, I won't go through the whole rant again, but I'm not a fan of it because it literally is all of the movies are the same. It is just the first 2 acts to like two
Hmm.
and a half acts of the movie are just nothing, like build up, because you're watching. It's like you've said this before, and when we've talked before, is that they get you comfortable. Like you're watching just a regular family, and there's the dumb dad with the video camera that never puts the fucking camera down, and you're thinking in the first 30 minutes of the movie, like, this seems like such a happy family, it's like a brighter color palette. What This seems like a funny comedy movie. Like, that's nothing bad could, like, they make you think that nothing bad could happen in this world that you're being
Yeah.
presented. So when the last 10-15 minutes are just so shocking. I mean, there's little build up throughout every movie, but I mean, and for most of the movie, nothing's happening. And by the very end, but that last 30 minutes to 25 minutes of payoff at the end, it is a big payoff, because it's, wow, you didn't think you were in a world where supernatural things could occur. You've literally watched an hour and 25 minutes of, just a regular family, where usually you have in movies, you have like hints coming here and there. It escalates a little bit more gradually. So
Yeah.
I think it was good for one movie to, like,
Hmm.
it's an exercise in, like, in that method of doing it. And it is very, like, some of the scariest moments you know, in horror movies, or was in a Paranormal Activity movie for me. But no, I can't stand it. I think it's just cheap, and it's being milked, and it's, yeah, you watch every one, and it's the whole every movie's the same, and it's the 45 minutes, first hour and a half is absolutely nothing.
Right.
So, and then one of the last movies we actually went through on this show when we were still doing recommendations was the Blair Witch Project, and we never saw it before. And I always knew that the Blair Witch Project, legendary. People thought it was real when it came out. I knew most, it's one of those movies where it's like, everything about it before you see it.
Yeah.
And we watched it, and our biggest takeaway was, wow, did Paranormal Activity just rip off that? Like, it is a Paranormal Activity movie beginning to end, but
Hmm.
better. And it just, yeah, it just, like, because I know, it's just people credit the Paranormal Activity franchise for continuing or starting the found footage genre, but it really is not the case.
Yeah, no, it was
So
Blair Witch. Yeah, and I remember going to see that in the theater, and
when
it
everyone
was,
thought it was real,
yeah, and it was, because they did a great job on the Blair Witch Project. Wasn't a good movie. Yeah, I mean, just straight up, it's not a good movie. I mean, it's okay, but
yeah, I like it captured the '90s for me very well,
yeah,
which I
but
liked.
the marketing on that
Right,
movie
it's yeah,
was, nobody did it better than what they did. And whatever they made on that movie was strictly because of the marketing on that. That was 100% marketing, because everybody thought it was real. They watched the movie. They left that theater saying, "Holy fucking shit, you got to go see that movie. Like,
it's genius.
you'll never see anything like it again. Like, it's real." And then when it came out that it was not real, everybody was like, "Oh, that sucks."
Yeah, no, I
But
I
if
have a lot
you
of respect for it.
Yeah, you have to because they marketed the shit out of that and they did a fantastic job. Nobody will ever come close to that.
Yeah.
But if you so Amityville Horror, um,
Mhm.
have you ever seen it?
No, but I'm aware.
So
Yeah, I'm
the
aware of how big it is.
the new well, because of what you said with Paranormal Activity and like what you liked and what you didn't like about it, the
Mhm.
Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds,
Oh god.
I think you would really really like. I loved that movie. I thought that was a great movie, great rendition of that story.
Really?
And Ryan
Okay.
Reynolds just knocks it out of the park. I mean, he's a great actor. I don't care if there's people that don't like him. I like him I mean, I think he's hilarious and I love his movies, but as a horror like character, he nailed it. Like I thought he did a great job.
Okay, so this obviously was an Amityville horror remake, right?
Yeah.
Or a sequel or something.
No,
Okay.
it was a remake, a total remake.
Oh, okay. Do, do you know? I mean, probably early 2000s came out
Yes.
somewhere
2004
around
maybe?
there.
2000
Okay.
I think
Okay.
2004. Yeah.
I I'm getting to the point, and I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast before. I'm getting to the point where I cannot stand Ryan Reynolds in a lot of movies
Really?
because he is. I don't want to get into it. He's literally been playing Deadpool every movie, and I can't stand him after a while. I actually can't stand him. I like Deadpool. I think the
Hmm.
first one was great. Second one was really good. I like there's no problem with him, but now it's to the point where the meme is just he's being Deadpool. That's his whole brand. He's not being a character in movies anymore. And to an extent, he kind of was always like that jokey person, but
Well,
it's like
yeah.
he's not really that funny in real life. Like he has writers, like that's just
Mhm.
he developed that sense of humor. I'm sure he has, but it's like you have like I don't know. I can't get
Have
into
you
that whole
seen him in
spiel.
interviews and anything like that? Like with him and Will Ferrell that did a switch
Yes,
for
he
Jimmy
is fun.
Fallon
No,
and
yeah, no, I can't. I don't hate him. I'm just
yeah.
when he pops up in movies now. He did that Free Guy movie. He did this
Hmm.
other Netflix movie that just came out.
Yeah, the
He
red
did
something.
Red Notice was atrocious, but there was another one. There was another one he did like a sci-fi one. And it's just he's
Oh, Project Adam or something like that.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
Project Adam. It like where they got a little kid to play young Ryan quippy Ryan Reynolds and it's just and I can't do it. He's Deadpool in every movie. I
I
can't
don't
do it.
see now. I don't think it's Ryan Reynolds' fault for this. I think they're typecasting him for these roles, and they're creating roles for his favorite character, pretty
For
much.
his brand, it's his
Yeah,
brand now.
because it was really he was it's Van Wilder. He came out in National Lampoon's Van
Right.
Wilder, made that, and that was pretty much the start of Deadpool. I would think
Yes.
because
Yes, I remember those
somebody
movies.
told me that there was a comic book where Deadpool in the comic said that Ryan Reynolds should play him in a movie if it was ever
Mhm.
made or anything like that.
I do remember that.
And Ryan Reynolds was like, "Yes, I love this idea. Let's actually really do it." And then pushed for this movie to be made.
Yeah, no, and he
So,
fought for a long time to get it made, like long
mhm.
time.
but Amityville Horror is a Ryan Reynolds movie where Ryan Reynolds does not play Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
So,
Good. No, and he doesn't. There's been movies where he hasn't. Oh, I mean, he always
yeah.
kind of has that presence of Ryan Reynolds where he's
Mhm.
like just
Yeah.
smiley at everything. Like going back to like when he played Deadpool for the first time in the X-Men and I really like the movie Mississippi Grind and he does
Yeah.
not be Ryan Reynolds in every movie,
That was a good
but
movie.
it's just yeah, no, it was a great movie and I like again, he's a great actor and I can't stand the now you're just a brand. You are not coming into a movie like
Mhm.
when you certain actors when they get to that place they and that's okay but it's like you're not playing characters anymore, you're playing your brand, you're playing your
Yeah.
persona like
So
Dwayne
here
the Rock Johnson is yeah.
I was just about
Plays
to.
him.
I wanted to just ask you.
I know.
You're getting there.
I love him.
But how? So, but I'm gonna add a little component onto that. What do you feel about Kevin Hart and Dwayne the Rock Johnson together in movies?
Okay. Big issue with comedy movies nowadays. I can't stand, and this has kind of died down a little bit, but in the later 2010s, there was this very big trend of get get this actor with this actor and put them in a comedy, like these two team up movies. It was always it was and Kevin Hart and The Rock, and then it
Yeah,
was there was Mark Wahlberg and I don't know, someone else. Like they had
Will
all these
Ferrell.
little Will Ferrell. Yeah, they just had all these like team up comedies that all sucked and were so forgettable. There was 21 Jump Street that was good. They had that had a big hit success, but like I don't know. It's not for me. I mean, there's a place for those movies for sure. You know, where you're just
Hmm.
making these these kind of comedies. There was a big. I think a part of that was like part of the whole Seth Rogen era of Judd Apatow comedies. That was a whole thing, and I think
Yeah.
this is a whole rant. But I think I know. Sorry, I think I have a
Don't
whole
be.
like
I'm feeding into
yeah.
it.
No, I do, and like I'm not saying I hate. Like I do like some of them. I mean, a lot of those like The Rock, Kevin Hart movies. No, I can't do it. But
Oh,
a
really?
lot
Oh,
of
see, I'll eat them up. I love them.
can't do
I'm
it.
like Central Intelligence. I loved it. The Jumanjis. I was like, yes, I
Jumanji
can
was
watch.
good.
I can watch these all day. Um, did he? I don't know if they did another one, but I was just like, if you put Kevin Hart and a Rock in a movie, I'm great. I will watch it. I don't give a fuck what it is, and I think I'm gonna love it. I love comedy, and I think those two have a good mix together. The one movie that Kevin Hart did with Woody Harrelson that was on Netflix, um, the man from
Something.
Toronto, the man from Toronto.
Okay, I don't think I've heard of it.
Um, the trailer looked great. I was super, super excited for it, and there were some funny moments in it, but I was a little disappointed in it. I don't think I don't think the writing was as good as what it should have been for those two actors. Because I'm in my mind, you put Woody Harrelson with Kevin Hart, I think you're gonna have a home run. And
Right.
it wasn't. It was like they just didn't utilize their skills to the fullest potential.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a big issue with how movies are made today is that it just seems like so much more often. And I'm not like a huge cinephile or anything. And there's tons of stuff that I haven't seen, but just with all of the stuff I have seen and just all the things I've listened to, and just it's been very interesting, like, getting into all movies and stuff. It feels like now the name of the game is movies are not really written and then people are casted. It's almost like the movie is built around them,
Yeah.
and their brand. It's a vehicle. This movie is and Kevin Hart, he's done like he did like a Netflix drama that got, they all do like different but this is like a Kevin Hart vehicle. These movies are vehicles to
Hmm.
further the brand of X, Y, and Z celebrities in it.
Yeah.
They're not like actual inspired stories. It's like, oh, Kevin Hart, he wants to do a real serious role now. He wants to do we're gonna get him in a, like, I could just picture the agents, like we're gonna get
Right.
him in a, like, and these Netflix movies, like, they're so desperate for content. It's like, okay, well, we'll just make some sort of drama with Kevin Hart. Like they're written with the actors in mind, it doesn't, they seem, and that's like with the Netflix stuff too, they just seem so much now like studio products. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying I'm sure that's always been a thing where, you're typecasting, you're writing a movie with a certain actor in mind, but now it just feels so apparent that you're making with like a lot of these comedies and stuff, it's like it's a vehicle for an actor, it's
Right.
not a, but I'm not saying that they're all bad. There are certainly
Yeah.
ones that are good.
But with
So
Netflix especially, I could understand that. For some reason I feel like I haven't seen a really good movie that's a Netflix only or original or
original.
whatever. Yeah. Stranger Things was great, but you know, the movies they put out, I get excited for, and then I'm like, ah, you idiot, that was fucking Netflix. What'd you expect? Like,
Yeah, they don't have a very good track record, but thankfully their company and
Mm.
their stock is doing great right now. So they're all going to be fine. They're going to have, if you password share, they're going to have fucking Batman come into your house and beat you with a fucking stick.
Yeah.
It's so, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's just the industry. But going into that too, like, is there anything now? I know you guys on your show, you'll review a lot of just anything that you like or just anything that was recommended by a fan. I don't know how much you watch like newer stuff. Is there anything new like in the past couple of years that makes you really excited? Anything in the horror world? Any specific movie or I don't know anything or it's like shows that you were just really excited about
So
other than
yeah,
Chucky?
yeah. No, so the two movies that just came out recently, which was X and Black
Yes.
Phone, I haven't seen either of them, and I'm like, and I want to, but I have to get up to date on those. But I was excited for those. Black Phone especially. I saw the trailer for that and I was excited. And it sucks too because I love watching the movie trailers, but
Hmm.
I watched a trailer for Tucker and Dale vs. Evil,
Yeah.
and it fucking ruined the movie for me
Yeah.
because
Trailers. Yeah.
they put that trailer just put all of the best, like the best kills and the best one-liners. They put it all in the trailer, and then when I went back and watched the movie, I was like, "No, what are you doing? Like, there's nothing else left in the movie. Like, I saw the whole thing." So
Yeah.
it kind of ruined it for me, and I was so pissed. I was like, I gotta stop watching these fucking movie trailers. So
Yeah, there. The and that's another thing we can get into a little bit later. Well, I'm sure it'll come into the conversation. But yeah, it seems like again, as I bitch more about the movie industry and the entertainment industry, it seems like now more. It's not even so much about the the project. It's not about the movie or the TV show. It's about like the hype and the marketing cycle behind it. Like or I'm talking strictly more about what we're going to get into
Mhm.
later with the Comic-Con stuff. But
Oh yeah.
with the franchises, it seems like the whole media hype cycle is bigger than the actual movie or show itself now in a lot of cases. But we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Have you seen? We just saw. We're going to be talking about it on the next episode. We just saw Friday night, we watched the new Jordan Peele movie, Nope. Have you seen any of the Jordan
Oh,
Peele movies?
yes. Um, what was it? Us, right?
Yes, Us and Get
Yeah,
Out.
and Get Out. Get Out I saw. I didn't see Us. Because Get Out was first, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Right. So Get Out is the one that I saw, and I liked it. I thought it was really well done. It had that creepy aspect to it. Not so much scary, but there was that creepiness to it. Like, holy shit, what is going on here? And almost, it kind of gave me this little bit of an M. Night Shyamalan vibe to it.
Yes. Mhm.
Um, but but different and in a good way because I like M. Night's stuff.
Mhm.
Not all of it, but
Right.
some. So I thought his Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. I love that
Glass.
series. I really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I thought it was creative. The whole superhero aspect. I thought it was done really really well.
Yeah, no. Uh no, I love Jordan Peele. I love that he like it just feels like he really has his own. Like when you go to a Jordan Peele movie now, you feel like you're watching a Jordan Peele movie.
Hmm.
My favorite director, I go towards, of course, I'm cliche. I love Quentin Tarantino. So when I go see a Quentin Tarantino movie, I know you're watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like you feel
What's
that
what's your favorite?
generic Pulp Fiction. It's my favorite movie of
Yeah.
all time.
Oh, is it?
My
Okay.
favorite movie of all time. I can watch scenes from that movie over and over and over again. But I know it's super generic. It's such a
No,
boring
it's
answer, Pulp
but no,
Fiction,
but
but
you know what? Why? There's a reason. There's a reason that so many
no,
people
it's a
love it. It's a
reason.
really good movie.
And again, there's a lot of stuff that I have on. I have a huge watch list of things that I want to get into and want to like, but I've seen a lot so far. But yeah, no, nothing will be Pulp Fiction for me. It's
Yeah,
so far, it's on another level. It captures. That's a thing too. It's not just I think it's a great movie. It also just for my personal tastes, like it's all the dialogue, the scene in the diner, the like just the idea that you could build tension in a room with just someone with a gun, in Glorious Bastards, that iconic opening sequence in Inglorious Bastards. I mean,
yeah.
nothing will
I
ever
love
beat that
Inglourious
stuff.
Bastards. That was good.
Oh
See,
god, nothing will ever.
I like when he does stuff with Robert Rodriguez,
Yes,
like
my
From Dusk
second
Till
or
Dawn
my third favorite movie of all time, From Dusk Till Dawn.
and Desperado.
I haven't seen Desperado yet, but that's on my watch list.
Oh yeah, that's not a horror movie, um, but it is. That's fucking awesome.
Okay.
Desperado is really really good. Antonio Banderas and Selma Hayek.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's great. And then then you break off away from Quentin and you go to Sin City with Robert
Mhm.
Rodriguez and Frank Miller, and that was a fun movie. But
I know Robert Rodriguez from those good old Spy Kids movies that I grew up with.
him and
You
him and Antonio teamed up again, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I gotta rewatch those one day. But yeah, man, cool. So I guess we can get into the big news of the week that
Yeah,
I wanted to cover. So right now, well, it's Sunday night right now, so it's winding down, but this past weekend was the return of the great San Diego Comic-Con 2022. Woohoo! Where everyone's back from COVID rich. The nerds are back. They haven't left their houses in 3 years. Prior to that, they probably never left their house anyway. They've made huge Twitch followings. Their skin is so pale that the sun will scorch their skin. They're crawling out of their basements to the convention center to Hall H just to see what Disney product is going to be thrown in their face for them to spend money on. The entire big commercial advertisement that is Comic Con, it's back, and I was just so excited for it. Uh, but yeah, so no, it was a big deal. I've been to New York City Comic Con once, but everyone knows that the all the other Comic Cons are not really. They're all kind of small potatoes compared to San Diego. San Diego
San
is
Diego's the big guy.
the big guy. That's where everything, in California, that's where everything gets announced. That's where all the big shit is every year. And this was the big return since COVID. So, but yeah, no. So they have all the announcements. Have you ever been to a Comic Con anywhere or like
I've never been to a Comic Con, but I have been to a horror con.
what? Yeah, we went to New York City Comic Con. I like the conventions; they're fun.
Yeah.
But what they really boil down to, and I've been to TwitchCon. TwitchCon was awesome.
Oh, I never even
That
heard of
was in
that.
Yeah, that was in San Diego. That was right before COVID, but that was a fun time. But no, a lot of the cons for the most part are there's a big shopping scene. I feel like a lot of it's
Hmm.
like almost like flea markety, which is awesome. A lot of nerd stuff, and the panels are kind of cool. I've been to a couple of those, and all the big announcements, but they're really like I can only imagine that San Diego is anywhere where you're really gonna see big breaking news things come out of it.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, there's a lot to say. I mean, was there anything? I mean, we'll go over the main stuff, but was there anything that caught your eye? Anything that you wanted to talk about? I know there was one thing that you wanted to bring up. Something about
There's a
the
couple.
walking.
Yeah,
Or
that
yeah,
was the
sorry. Go.
Yeah, no, that you're good. It's I mean, because I'm sure we're gonna touch base on a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Um, but if you're asking, of course I'm gonna jump right into the horror things that they were announcing. And one was The Walking Dead, that they're gonna do a spin-off of Rick Grimes and Michonne. They're gonna do their own series. And I
Okay.
it's funny because they're about to end the series of The Walking Dead.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask, 'cause I've never been into The Walking Dead, I've never watched it.
Yeah.
I always heard that it got, like, really bad after the 2nd season or something, and it fell right off, and it's still going, and I never got myself to get into it. I
No,
missed that
so
train.
it's it's weird. There are some great seasons. There are some phenomenal seasons. I mean, Andrew Lincoln did he was that franchise
Mhm.
for a while, and then he kind of took a step away from it for a couple seasons.
Yep.
I guess he wanted to do other stuff, and I didn't see him. I haven't seen him come out really with anything while he was away, unfortunately, because I do think he's a pretty good actor. I loved him in Love Actually.
Okay.
I
Got
don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I haven't.
No, it's watch
I
it
feel
during.
like
It's a romantic comedy.
I was
Watch
gonna
it
say
during
it sounds
Christmas.
okay.
There's a scene specifically with him that you've seen parodies on. I know you have.
Okay.
But the movie itself, it's fun, it's good, it's lighthearted, it's an English movie, but it's really, really well done. I love it. We watch it every year and we enjoy it.
Nice.
So
Okay.
lots of funny parts in it. So you'll get a kick out of it, I promise. You and Marissa will sit down and enjoy it.
Okay.
But yeah, he's super young in that. Then he comes out with The Walking Dead, and I'm watching it, and there's some really great seasons. Some seasons they get a little slow. Jeffrey Dean Morgan comes into the series. He brings this like really, really intense character. He does a great job in it. He's still doing it, and we're waiting for this whole thing to end. And it's like, and right now I'm like, all right, Rick's going to be coming back, and they can't end this series without him returning. So
Right.
it's I like it. I'm still enjoying it. There were some slow moments in some past seasons where I'm like, all right, I'm kind of over it. But I got back into it, and it started picking back up, so they're getting there. I don't know if I like the idea that him and Michonne are going to do their own series because he is The Walking Dead. It's just
Right.
it's like if you're just going to follow
Well,
that character Rick Grimes, then just continue with The Walking Dead and bring him back. Like that's all it is. Like that's who everybody wants.
yeah, it's funny. So, okay, so you're caught up on the show. I don't know how many. It seems like there's a lot of seasons.
I think it's 9 or 10.
Yeah, so but you're fully caught up on the show, or
Yeah.
okay. So, this was a brand new announcement. No one knew that they were going to be doing this, or there was no talkings that you know of this show coming, like the spinoff happening.
Right. So I understood that I heard, and I think it was announced a few months ago that they were going to be doing a spin-off of Negan and Maggie,
Okay,
which are two characters in that. They're planning on doing a spin-off of them. But this is brand new news that they are doing a Rick Grimes and Michonne.
and you're not the biggest fan of the idea, or you just don't really know
Well,
how you feel about
no,
it in the premise.
it's I'm torn. I'm really torn on it. I really am. Uh, it's just why do a spin-off when Rick is he is the franchise The Walking Dead. It's basically him and Negan are they're the big honchos. They're
Right, the
like
the faces. Yeah, it's like yeah,
yeah. So if you're gonna do a spin-off on them, it's just why do the spin-off? Why not just keep The Walking Dead going? Because it's basically what you're doing. I think it just seems like they're trying to say we're going to be releasing a new series and it's just going to get everybody excited, but it's all they're doing is we're done with all these other characters. We don't want to deal with them anymore. And instead
but
of
we
killing
have
them
that
off,
brand name.
we're just going to start a new series, and we're just going to say, yeah, we'll see you guys later in a few years. Maybe we'll give you your own spin-off or something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
excited for it because I love his character and I love Michonne. Uh, she's an awesome character and badass in her own way. But it just
yeah.
It's that thing of, well, why even do that? Just leave it with The Walking Dead.
Yeah. So that was the big announcement for you. I'll
That
I'll
was
bounce.
one of them, yeah.
Okay, I'll bounce one off of you. We'll go back and forth. So one thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you. This was not really. There was a panel for it at Comic-Con, but I think this was released right as the first day got off to a start. I'm sure they showed it. House of Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel series. I don't know. Are you a Game of Thrones guy?
Yeah, yeah, I love the
Okay.
Game of Thrones. I thought it was great. I'm
Would
probably
it?
one of the few that actually like the ending of the Game of Thrones.
I have a terrible reputation on this podcast, Rich, between my co-hosts, where I am the guy that hates everything. I hate everything. I am like we get it. We got into a rut where we kind of became the Star Wars, Marvel, Disney podcast
Yeah.
because I watch a lot of that stuff. I hate so much of everything now. All of the superheroes. I am like hopping off that train so bad, but I've had this conversation before with Josh. We've talked about it. He was a big Game of Thrones fan too. We have a famous story of how we watched the finale. It's somewhere we've told it a couple times in the episodes, but basically, I do think the Game of Thrones ending gets a little bit more shit than it deserves.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I
I
think
enjoyed it.
all the criticisms are correct, but I just think, and I agree with them, but I just think it wasn't a monumental failure. Like, because I
Mhm.
rewatched it with Marissa, her and I watched it all again with her, and at the
Yeah,
end, I was like, you know what, this really isn't as bad as I remember it. Like,
right.
what it all ended. It was rushed, yes, but yeah, that's not here nor there. But
Yeah,
so they announced the trailer for the prequel show. What do you think? Are you excited for a prequel Game of Thrones show?
I am. I mean, there's a lot of storyline there that they touched on throughout the show of Game of Thrones, and I read the books. Um,
Oh, you did? Okay.
I listened to them on audio.
Oh, that's the same fucking thing.
So,
Can we stop? Can we stop with this? Oh, I didn't actually read the book. You read the book. Everyone that, oh, I'm so superior because I sit there in a coffee shop for 6 hours a day with my text paperback and I have them all on a shelf. Like,
yeah,
fuck off. I got shit to do. I'm gonna enjoy my book.
right.
I'm
And you
gonna
know
get the
what?
same information.
And if you want to sit there and read the George R. R. Martin's fucking what his most recent book is, where he had to split it in two, and he spends three fucking pages talking about what the attire of the one fucking person that walks into the room is. Good luck, because
Is that
I'll tell you what, that fucking book was probably one of the most boring books I was trying to. If I was reading it, I would have fucking burned it. It was I'm sorry, but you don't need to go into that much detail on person's wardrobe. It was too long. I understand you
wow?
really want to have that person envision what you're trying to relate and have them relate to that or whatever. But oh my god, I was just like, come on already. Like, just let's get on with the story. There's too much description. It was too much. So thank
No
God I listened to
shit.
it on audio. I would have never got through it.
Yeah,
But
Jesus.
but yeah, I am excited for the prequel. I think it's going to be pretty good. HBO is still doing it, so I'm just curious if it's going to have the same amount of nudity as the original Game of Thrones, because that was like, all right, there is no disappointment in any teenage eyes here.
I'm sure, it's HBO. They're known for it.
Mhm.
I'm sure they're going to do what they did with Game of Thrones, the original series, where I'm sure in the beginning to get people hooked in, this is just kind of my theory that they did. If you think about it, in the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones, there was much more nudity, orgies. It's like, just it's basically porn, you name it.
Yeah.
But but I think they did dial it back a little bit in the later seasons just because they didn't, not that I think that they were ever using it as a crutch, but if they could shoot a scene of two characters talking, meeting somewhere in the earlier seasons, like, what can make this more interesting? Can we do it in a whorehouse? Let's do it in a
Yeah.
whorehouse. So, and that, so that works. But so they did, but yeah, but they had enough confidence to be like, we don't need tits in every frame to keep anyone's attention. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I But did you see the trailer of
I
the prequel that came out?
not the one that they released for Comic-Con. I saw the one previous to that.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot of, it looks like Game of Thrones. I don't really
Yeah.
know it's about the Targaryens. I know to me I just am hoping that it's going to have it needs to have great characters. It needs to have
Hmm.
that's and the great locations, which I think it's going to have the production value. To
Yeah.
me that was a big appeal of Game of Thrones. Those characters were so strong that they built up and
Oh,
complex, and that I think is the big draw. So they need to, for me to get interested in the show, it can't just be the big budget. It's the brand name. It's they got to have really well developed characters that I'm going to be able to get attached to, because it's going to be tough for me to get involved. But I don't know, maybe it'll be great.
the one thing that I'm gonna be interested to see how they do is in Game of Thrones in season one. You settled in, and here's a spoiler alert, just in case anybody out there has not seen Game of Thrones. You're probably going to want to skip what I'm about to say
Mhm.
because it's a big spoiler. But in season one, you got comfortable through most of the first season where you were like, all right, here's the main characters. You got Ned Stark, you got Robert Baratheon, you got, this, but, Jamie Lannister, and this, all of these guys. And then at the end of season one, they fucking kill Ned Stark, and you're like, holy shit. Like,
Right.
I didn't think that they were actually going to kill him, even when the axe was coming down. I don't know how they're going to do that in the new series because you know the main backstory of the big players.
Right.
So, Rhaegon Targaryen and um and the Lannisters, who's who, because they're referenced so much that you're like, well, they're not dying. They're not going to get killed because we know that
Right.
they're in Game of Thrones, or that they're, they are who they are, and we heard the story about when they get killed or who kills them. So it's going to be interesting to see how can they do this where they still have that surprised and shocking element to it.
Yeah, it's the issue with the prequel concept in general, right? Just with
Hmm.
anything that's a prequel, it's you run into that. Well, we know how they got from point A to point B, or we know the backstory. I guess where it comes down to is execution and how they do it. Can it be done in an interesting way? I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, I think one of the greatest prequels that we ever have right now is Better Call Saul. So I mean, it's not completely hopeless, but no,
I
I
have to
mean,
catch up on that series because that is a
yeah.
really good. I think I'm in the season two, but I haven't watched it in a while, and I really like that. That was surprisingly better than I thought that was going to be.
Yeah, amazing show. I mean, so okay, so Game of Thrones, we're a kind of hesitant. Yeah, we'll see. House of Dragon, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm gonna say I'm excited about it. I am.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. I'll definitely
Hmm.
watch it. I just I'm not as like, oh fuck, like I'm not on the edge of my seat counting down the days. I'll
Yeah.
watch it when it's on. Uh, so what else you got on your list? We'll go.
Uh, so Chucky season two was supposed to have a panel at Comic Con, and they canceled it. They were supposed to do a Q&A.
Okay,
So I was bummed out about that. I think they were referencing that it was too risky via COVID. That is why they canceled it. So
really interesting.
yeah, so I was a little surprised. I'm like, well, aren't you guys kind of up on stage away from everybody? And maybe they said something about they didn't want to put their cast in danger. So
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Okay. Was there
But
anything else in the horror world,
um
or just anything else in general that you saw that just piqued your interest?
there was a couple I saw. So Gremlins, they were doing like this
Yes.
series.
Can't wait.
But
That'll be fun.
it's an animated prequel series.
Hey man, sometimes that stuff, I don't know, some stuff can surprise you. I don't know. I love Gremlin. I'm a
Yeah,
sucker.
I love Gremlins
Yeah.
too. The very first one was super dark. I
It's
loved it.
it'll probably just be a cash grab. Cash grab. It's
Hmm.
IP cash grab. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I just when you look through the actual, besides the big name stuff, I mean, I look through half of the stuff that's announced and stuff that they're talking about. Again, a lot of it is just commercials for things and a lot of smaller projects. One thing one thing I did want to bring up though that is a little bit of a niche thing for me that I was super excited about was it's this little small show that I'm a big fan of. It was one of the best things. It's probably my favorite TV movie thing that I've seen in all of 2022, and it's so stupid. It's this new Adult Swim show called Smiling Friends.
Oh, okay. I've
So,
never heard of that.
yeah, no, it's very niche. So, if you're familiar with anything that Adult Swim does,
Yeah, what was it? Aqua Teen Hunger
Aqua Team Hunger Force,
Force.
the
That
weird
was that
stoner,
was
the
funny
the
for a little while.
the weird adult animation stuff on Cartoon Network. So yeah, no, I'm a big Adult Swim person. I like that's just where my head lives, like in that form of like adult. And I'm a big like I love animation. So yeah, no, but Smiling Friends was this little short that originated on YouTube, and this guy was a YouTuber for a while, and he did animation, and he worked with a lot of big YouTubers, and he did these really really funny animation skits that just got big. And it's not just that it's supporting a YouTuber, like it's cool seeing a YouTuber jump into the mainstream, like he got his own Adult Swim show, but it was
Mhm.
more that his animation is actually very good. It's very reminiscent of like Ren and Stimpy, where like the frames are just so characters are just so expressive and so exaggerated, and it's absurd. It's so absurd. So it makes I've never comedy is so hard for me, Rich, but like I
Yeah.
have never laughed so hard. And like Marissa thinks it's the stupidest thing. It's absurdist humor. It's so stupid. It's like it's the funniest. But again, like Ren and Stimpy,
Oh
right? Like
yeah,
how
I
just
loved Ren and Stimpy. That was
dude,
awesome.
it's very inspired. Like Ren and Stimpy was some of the best animation, like because it just how expressive they were and how like the comedy, it's like
And then they
physical
would
comedy.
zoom in on some of the things with
Oh,
the
and
these are my magic
SpongeBob.
nose goblins and
Yeah, yeah. SpongeBob did some stuff with that too, where stuff were just so weird, like for no reason. And that's what this show, Smiling Friends, really like captures. It's so ridiculous. It's these
I
two
have to check
guys.
this out.
It's these two guys, and and it's like 15-minute little episodes. The whole season you can watch in like 2 hours. It's like it's not even. It's maybe like an hour, but oh, it's so good, and like oh the animation's so good, and they mix different styles, but it's like it's so funny too. It's these two guys, Pip and Charlie, and their job is that they're the Smiling Friends, and they work at this company where they have to go around and they get clients who are sad, and they have to try to make them happy. And it is so dark, it's so funny. It's like even the first, but the animation, just I've never laughed out loud so hard at how like ridiculous. But anyway, so it's a great show. But they had a Comic-Con panel for them, and again they have such a big online following because they've worked with a lot of big YouTubers like voice in the show,
Mhm.
and it's so awesome. But basically they announced a special that they're doing, a Smiling Friends special that they're coming out with. It's like Smiling Friends go to Brazil or something like that, and they're going to go to Brazil to try to make people happy. And so yeah, and they did a Q&A, but that was like something I was like so excited. That was like my niche thing that I was like the most excited about out of all of Comic-Con. But
That's cool. All right. Nice.
yeah.
So I'll bounce back.
Okay. Okay, you got more? Yeah, let me hear
Yeah,
it.
because I have to look through the feed as
Oh,
as
I
we
know,
go
there's
so
a
that I
lot.
can there was so much and it's
I skimmed
and
through it.
I'll once I run out of horror stuff then I could then I can talk on the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
stuff if you don't bring it up. But
Yeah,
uh
sure.
back to Walking Dead, now they're also going to be doing a something called Tales of the Walking Dead, where it's actually
Oh,
going to be
anthology?
well, it's going to be I think it's what I read was it's going to be short stories of the protagonists. So throughout the whole entire series, they had the bad guys there, but you only knew a little bit about their backstory. So now I think it looks like they're going to do a whole series where each episode is a different protagonist, and they're going to show that, and that could be really cool because there were some fucked up uh, bad guys on that show.
Yeah, that's interesting that they're really expanding out that franchise now because
Yeah,
they were always a very big presence at Comic-Con because it started as a comic. At New York
yeah.
Comic-Con, Walking Dead was a huge part of it.
I
So,
started collecting all those books too.
oh really? Cool.
Yeah, because they're the graphic novels are uh they're legendary. There's some
Right.
really amazing stories in there. And
Right.
they're
So of
still I
course,
think they're still going too.
yeah, no, I believe so.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I would love to get into it, but again, it just sounds like it's a show that has such a shoddy reputation. I it's gonna be it'll be interesting to see that, man. I'm so cynical nowadays to see if when they just do these spin-offs and
Yeah.
announce tons of stuff, is like, is this just
I
doing
would
it because we're trying to keep gas going in the tank and
I would recommend it.
Mhm.
There's I would say there's maybe two, maybe three seasons that were all right.
Oh,
Right, but the other seasons, they were really, really good, and they were worth sitting through those not so good seasons.
okay. Yeah, I'll
So
have to check it out. It is a blind spot for me, so
it's one of it's I would recommend it. It's one of those things where you'll see it and then you're either you'll love if you love the first two seasons, then you're gonna want to get through the rest. But if you don't like the first two seasons, then forget it. You won't like it.
gotcha. Okay. Alright. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, was there anything else really big? I don't think they did a lot with Star Wars this year. I think a
A
lot
lot
of
of Marvel.
yes, I think a lot of because Disney owns fucking everything now. Basically, from what I understand, a lot of the Star Wars stuff and even
Hmm.
some of the Marvel. I mean, they did do a lot of Marvel and DC, obviously, but a lot of the Star Wars stuff, I believe, is being saved for Disney's convention, D23. Have you?
Oh, okay.
They have their own expo every
Yeah, well,
year
that
that is
makes
kind
sense.
right. So I think they saved a lot of the Star Wars stuff because yeah, but no, I mean, yeah, there wasn't
Other than the Mandalorian.
right. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, there was a lot of small announcements, a lot of things that weren't. I mean, if there's anything else that caught your eye, really, I mean, I don't know. What else was there? I mean, Jason and I were we were watching some highlights of the convention, and there was a little panel on the new Predator movie, Prey. I'm a big fan of the Predator franchise.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Get to the chopper.
it's probably going to be a horrible movie, but I love the last Shane Black movie, Predator, was not good at all. And I think he got canceled after that. But so yeah, I don't know. So that's the only other thing that I like had a note of. But
Well,
what were you gonna say?
here's two things that I have a question for you. One, we were talking about The Rock earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and what I read on this highlights page that you sent me is that The Rock was asked questions about who would win in a fight between him and Superman.
Oh, there was some. I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, then he said it depends on who's playing Superman, meaning him or Henry Cavill. But I mean, who boos The Rock? Like, come on! Like, of course, if you actually put The Rock against what's it, Henry Carvel,
Henry Cavill.
Henry
Welcome,
Cavill. I mean,
welcome to the internet, or welcome to nerddom.
well, yeah, and yes, Henry Cavill, fucking yeah, he's built, he's strong, but he's not the fucking Rock, dude. Like, The Rock's
Right.
enormous.
Yeah, they're all
So,
roided up.
and I mean, Black Adam, he gives Superman a challenge, but like accept it. It's okay. You don't know who's gonna win. There's anything can happen in a superhero movie. I get it. It's Superman.
Right. The whole thing with the superheroes, I think the thing that I can't stand the most is who would win in a fight, blank or blank. And I'm like,
Right.
they just write it that way. Like whatever they want to write, they are that like superhuman beings. If they
Yeah.
like you know, like if Captain America took a little bit like more pre-workout than Iron Man that day, then who, like, you know what I don't know. It's just like
Yeah.
I remember when this is a little like nitpick rant, but like I remember when Endgame came out, everyone was complaining about Captain Marvel, like, oh, she's too overpowered. She's too overpowered. What do you mean? You just write a scene where Thanos overpowers her. Like, I don't understand. Like, these are not quantifiable. Like, everyone doesn't have like a level over
Right.
their head like a video game. Like, you just write that in that, and then Thanos punches her and she goes down. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand this. You know what I mean? Like, but anyway. Uh,
Yeah.
so
But
yeah,
of
we can
course, The
get into
Rock's
the
gonna be like, yeah, let's, you know.
right. We can. All right. So let's start with we'll get into the DC stuff. So there was a few DC announcements. They had a whole panel at Hall H. Hall H is the big, you know, hall, I guess, or the big hub of Comic-Con where all the big stuff happens. Your Marvel, that's what like pretty much everyone's there to fucking see anyway.
Right.
So DC, they had their whole thing. The big, yeah, like you mentioned, the big reveal was Dwayne the Rock Johnson coming out at Comic Con in Black Adam suit, and they showed a trailer for Black Adam. I think we got footage for it earlier this year, but this movie, I don't know if you're aware, but this Black Adam movie has been in production for probably almost, it seems like 10 years. Like this movie has been marketed for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Like we never thought we were ever going to see this movie. It's been talked about that Dwayne the Rock Johnson was going to be playing the Black
I
Adam,
remember it
but
being announced. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool. The
and
Rock's finally doing a superhero movie.
yeah, and now like 10 years later, like here we are finally getting a trailer. But yeah, no, I mean, so yeah, I don't know how I feel. I mean, DC is just what are they gonna do? I mean, I don't know if you know anything about like what's going on with Ezra Miller playing the Flash, and
Yeah, I heard about his
he's a
pedophilic
psychopath.
fucking shit.
Yeah, he's a psychopath now. I mean, I don't know what else they got going on. Like they're just kind of fumble fucking through the franchise. Wonder Woman 1984 was not good. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Aquaman 2, we'll see. I thought Aquaman was fun. I don't know. It's DC's all over the place.
You know what? The thing with DC is I would I would think of DC as dark comic. Like I know that's not what the acronym actually stands for,
No,
but
they're supposed to be the darker, grimier,
right.
grittier version of Marvel.
And I was excited for Aquaman when Aquaman came out, but when it came out and I watched it, I'm like, this is a fucking cartoon. It's bright. It's like almost joyful and energetic. Like that darkness just wasn't there. And
Yeah.
there was no grime or dirtiness to it. It was just super, super clean. Like everybody went around and just, like all of those people that were living in the ocean, like put some fucking moss on them or something. Like
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it look like Pirates of the Caribbean almost had more of a dirtier grit, like way more than what Aquaman had. And so just that was just really disappointing to me. Just because of the look of it. I couldn't stand it. But the storyline wasn't the worst. It was just a look and feel. And then when they did the Justice League movie, I was just like, this is another cartoon. It was insane.
Yeah.
But then Zack Snyder's version came out, and
Yes.
I was like, okay, I am back in love with DC. Like this was fucking phenomenal. And then I
Really?
just read, I loved it. I loved
Mhm.
Zack Snyder's version of Justice League. Everything about it. The bad guys, the special effects,
You
the
just
fight
became Gene's best
scenes.
friend.
Oh, really? That's the first one
Gene
we're
is a
gonna we're gonna agree on. I don't
yeah,
agree
he's
with him ever.
yeah, he is a Zack Snyder stan. Uh
Yeah, I like Zack Snyder. He did 300, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's got
Yeah.
a very classic, like you know you're watching a Zack Snyder movie,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Watchmen.
Right. But I loved that version of Justice League, and I was just like, all right, let's see more Zack Snyder. But then they just announced that Zack Snyder will not be doing any of the other
Right.
one. I'm just like,
And there is a whole
you just destroyed your whole entire fan
the
base. What are you doing?
well, the issue with the issue with the DCEU, the DC extended universe, their
Hmm.
movies is, and their shared universe, not counting the comics or any other part of DC or anything, but just their set of movies that they have in their universe right now. It's been just a fumble fuck to keep up with Marvel. It's they did their Justice League team up movie way too early before
Yeah.
half of the characters were developed there, and then there's all the drama. There, the behind the scenes production drama behind the DCEU is more interesting than their movies. The fallout with Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut, the Ezra Miller now like getting canceled. Henry Cavill like never got his own movie. Ben Affleck like quit like right after he started doing it. He's like, fuck this. This ain't worth it anymore. It's been that whole franchise has been a total mess. And
Yeah.
honestly, when you look at it, to me, how many great movies are there? I don't like. It is weird too because even now, it's weird because they did Justice League
Yeah.
and then they did like two or three other more movies where, like they did Shazam. Shazam is in the DCEU. They
Shazam
did.
was good.
I was okay. I liked it. It was.
Yeah.
I thought
I
I like
enjoyed it.
Zachary Levi. I like Zachary Levi. I think it's
Yeah.
okay. Is it
It was
great?
better than
No.
I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. But again, it's not like again, it's just another superhero. Like I just
Hmm.
but and then you get like Suicide Squad. Do you remember that? Like that was in the same universe.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, the original Suicide, and then the new Suicide Squad, which is probably their best movie, but
Yeah.
it's not like it's supposed to be in the same universe, but it's like it doesn't
Yeah.
none of
The second Suicide Squad was better than the first because they didn't focus on just two characters.
right. Well, and
They
it was
actually
James
did a
Gunn.
whole, yeah, which I really like that. And then Peacemaker came out.
Yes, and then but again, yeah, that was always yeah, and then like
That was
Aquaman
good.
and the it was good. No, it was great. And then but it was funny, but like you forget like Aquaman and the Flash and like Wonder Woman kind of like show up at spoilers, but like you didn't know, you fucking nerds. But like
Yeah.
so they anyway, but like you forget, you're like, oh, that's right, like they're all in the same universe, and
Hmm.
it's not like they ever feel like they ever have any plans to connect it. They just reference like, yeah, remember Batman's in this universe, Aquaman, he fucks fish, he's in this universe,
Yeah.
like so yeah, they go all over the place. But no, I don't know, I think they're just it's movie for movie. Like again, I think the only reason why the Suicide Squad was so great because it was James Gunn. Then
Yeah.
it's like you get stuff like the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, like a Harley Quinn movie that is in the DCEU because it's that character.
Right.
That movie was so terrible and forgettable. Half of the people forget it even exists. It was so bad. But
It,
so
the
anyway,
only the only
yeah,
re-
go ahead.
the only real joy or enjoyable movies that they came out with in that universe were Man of Steel, which I thought that was a great Superman movie. I really liked
Yeah,
it.
I love Henry Cavill is a great Superman.
Yeah, he is.
Uh,
I really think he is. But then they went into Superman versus Batman, where it was like,
right.
okay, well, we have this new Batman now, but we don't have his. Where's his origin story for
That was
this universe that you're creating?
horrible.
You skipped it. So all
Yeah,
right, I'll accept it. Let's do Batman versus Superman, and then Batman versus Superman. It's like, okay, Batman hates Superman because Superman destroyed a building, but do you not realize that Superman was fighting the fucking aliens that were coming to destroy the entire planet? And that's what caused the building to come down? No, okay,
yeah,
Batman. So in this world, Batman's too stupid to realize who the fuck the actual villain was, and he goes after Superman.
yeah.
And then halfway through the movie, it's why did he say Martha? Well, oh, because Martha's his mom's name. Well, that's my mom's name. Did we just become best friends? Yeah. What the fuck just happened? Like,
Famous
nope.
line.
I I mean, come on. Like, how did it? Where did we go from Batman versus Superman to Step Brothers? Like, I love
Right.
Step Brothers, but that's not that didn't belong in Batman versus Superman. It's like,
No.
come on, get the fuck out of here. So
Yeah.
we
So
almost needed a Zack Snyder version of Batman versus Superman because I think maybe there would have been some more sense made in that.
yeah, and I think there was when I saw when the Snyder Cut came out, liked it a lot better. Thought it was really good. I'm a big fan of the original Justice League TV show. I grew up with that on Cartoon Network. So when I
Okay.
saw Martian Manhunter, I pissed myself. I was so excited. I was a little kid seeing Martian Manhunter because I grew up with him in the animated series. But really though, I kind of my takeaway from seeing the Snyder cut after all the fucking drama and the year like you know all the like behind the scenes Josh Whedon was abusive towards Cyborg, Ray Fisher had a whole controversy. I mean, it's literally been controversy after controversy after controversy behind the scenes with these DC movies. So when the
That's a
Snyder
shame.
yeah, so when the Snyder oh it was like this, it was the biggest thing on the internet, and Zack Snyder has such a big fan base. So when the Snyder cut finally came out, I did feel like when Martian Manhunter confronted Ben Affleck on that dock and he was just like, you know, more's to come, or, you know, it was that little stinger at the end and you see like Martian Manhunter kind of like just fly away. I kind of, you know, and we did cover when it came out, we did cover it on the show. We did have an episode about it, but I did find it like this kind of beautiful place to end this train wreck of a franchise with some of pop culture's biggest characters, and just what a clusterfuck it's all been, how horrible it's been, the behind the scenes, the actors. And no, but seriously though, I kind of liked this idea that like seriously, like just this idea of Martian Manhunter, you know, in the last movie, they show you like this recut of this movie. They show you Martian Manhunter and he's just flying off and saying like, we're going to be back. We're going to be doing more. And he flies off into the distance, end of movie. And it's kind of like, you know, this Marvel stinger, like where there's more to come. But the fans, you know, there's not more to come. So it's like you're kind of seeing this really, to me, I really did like it where it was almost like this really like, this is kind of what we could have had. But it just didn't work out. And we're never going to see where this story goes.
Yeah,
And I
it's
kind of like it's almost I don't know, like I kind of loved that. Like I love that idea. Like the Snyderverse is done. This was a
yeah.
total millions of dollars and years of clusterfuck movies. But yeah, anyway, so that was my whole thing at the Snyder Cut. But like, no,
Oh
I
yeah.
did like it. Anyway, so I don't know. Seeing we're going off on a tangent, but back to Black Adam. I don't know. Only only thing for me is it is going to be interesting. I do want to see. I mean, it feels like it has been way overdue that The Rock has not stepped in to a cape yet. So,
Right. The closest thing was Moana.
right. So it's
That's
you
Maui.
know it is insane that he has not been a superhero yet. I guess just because his brand is literally he's like bigger than any superhero IP at this point, you know.
But yeah, but I think this was a character that he was really interested in developing. Like this was his. But it's it's funny. He could have been Luke Cage. He could have been put
Yeah.
on as Luke Cage. That would have been fitting. But they did that series on Netflix
Yeah.
instead.
No, so yeah, I mean, yeah, any honestly, out of anything that they announced, I guess out of the DC stuff, I guess Black Adam, I think it. I'm interested to see just because of The Rock, just to see what he does in a superhero role. So
Yeah.
I will say, and this is a quick side note, got to mention it because we're just ripping on DC. DC does have an amazing fucking show out right now, and it's called the Harley Quinn animated series. I
Oh,
have to
really?
recommend. Actually, that was part of it. They did announce season 3. The Harley Quinn animated series is some of the best. It's like one of the best animated adult animated TV shows out right now. It's on HBO, but it's fucking hilarious. But um yeah, so then we also got a Shazam trailer for the new Shazam movie. Uh you mentioned that you like the first Shazam. I like the first Shazam. I like Zachary Levi. He's really fun. I think the
Yeah.
concept of Shazam is ridiculous, and they're definitely not taking it seriously, which is good. You know, I think again I liked it, but I'm never gonna watch that again. You know, like it was a fun movie. You know, like I'm gonna it's a little theme park ride, you know? I get in and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that was fun. I had fun, and then I'm never gonna think about it again. So
Yep.
that's kind of what this new trailer looked like for the second Shazam movie, but
It'll
I
be
don't
like
know.
watch it and then all right.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like a little product that makes you like it's exciting in the moment, but no, anyway, so yeah, going into some more products, we can get into the Marvel stuff if you want. We can kind of close on this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how much of it. Yeah, like actually, tell me this: how much of a are you an MCU guy? Do you follow like are you just casual? Do you watch the TV shows? What's your background with
Um
Marvel? What's your relationship with the
all right.
MCU?
So there is some Marvel I really like. The Punisher, my favorite. I love the Punisher.
Okay,
Um Thomas Jane, I thought was an amazing Punisher with the movie that he did with John Travolta.
right, yes,
And then Jonathan Berthal was incredible in the
um,
Punisher series on
right,
Netflix. So I'm really glad Disney actually picked it up, took it, and then they actually have it available now on the Disney Plus. Because I
right.
actually didn't even know there was a season two until my nephew was just here, and he said something about Punisher season two, and I was like, wait, what? There was a Punisher season two that Netflix did, and he goes, oh yeah. I'm like, how
Hmm.
the hell did I not know about this?
Oh, it was great.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to be watching it this week.
Okay. Okay, so you're okay. No, I'm a huge fan. I agree. I'm a huge fan of the like Daredevil, the series,
Yeah,
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, the Defenders. Iron Fist was unwatchable.
that was
Actually,
bad.
actually unwatchable. I
And
salute any
what was the one where it was all of them kind of together?
the Defenders.
The
That was
Defenders.
cool.
That was.
It you know what it is? It's a little cheap. It always has, like, that cheapish Netflix quality, but it's not
uh,
as cheap as, like, CW level. It
okay, yeah,
has a strong like, CW shows I can't do. It's the corny, cheap, like, lowest of low budgets, and
right,
I like the Netflix universe I liked was good. I liked it a lot, but no,
yeah,
but what about the movies? Like, are, like, the
yeah.
actual MCU, are you a big fan? Any, like, favorites?
Any favorites?
Or, like, have you watched any of the TV shows on Disney Plus? Have you been keeping up with the never-ending lore rich that is the MCU?
I think I have for the most part. I haven't seen Miss Marvel, but I've seen all the Iron Mans. I've seen the Captain Americas,
Right.
Endgame. All of those. Yeah, I'm pretty up to date on most of them. I probably think I like Iron Man in that world probably the best, just because of his cocky attitude. I did like I did like Spider-Man. Spider-Man was my favorite back when it was Tobey Maguire,
Oh,
and
yeah.
not any knock on the new kid. I can't remember his name. Tom Holland.
Yes. Yep.
Tom Holland. Yeah. He is a great Spider-Man. I don't know what it was. I just really liked the stories that they gave back in the Tobey Maguire realm a little bit
Right.
better.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh oh, and Venom. I love Venom. I know he's not in that universe yet, but Venom's another one of my big favorites.
Okay. Cool.
So,
Yeah, so, of course, the biggest thing in Comic-Con was the Marvel panel that happened in Hall H Saturday, and Kevin Feige, the producer of all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the showrunner of the MCU, basically, he came out on stage and he did the thing you've probably seen the graphics in the past where he comes out every couple of years and he does the big timeline of this is going to be Marvel Phase 4 and this is going to be Marvel Phase 5. Have you ever seen those?
I haven't seen them, but I was reading about that they're releasing another phase or something. So,
Yeah, the movies and the shows, and now there's Disney Plus shows. They're all in the same universe. They do it in phases. And every couple of years, that's what he'll do. Like it'll be this big event, and this is the first one, like where he will announce all of the new shows and everything. It'll be this big timeline, and you'll see this graphic getting thrown around online like crazy with all the logos of the new movies and shows. So yeah, I mean, and a lot of the stuff that they did announce this year, he gave an exact timeline. You kind of knew that some of it was coming, but they did officially announce new Avengers movies. But again, these movies aren't coming until like 2024.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess the one thing we did get, the big release was there was a trailer for Black Panther 2 that
Okay.
came out. Uh, I like the first Black Panther. Obviously,
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman passed away, so now they kind of, and
Yeah.
there was some drama behind the sequel. The trailer looks good. Obviously, the first Black Panther was like the first Marvel movie ever to be nominated for Best Picture. It like crossed $1 billion. It was one of the most successful superhero movies ever,
Yeah.
aside from all their other stuff. But
Yeah.
so
It was great. I loved it. I thought it was a great movie.
yeah, I didn't think it was perfect. I didn't think it was amazing. I have a lot of nitpicks with it. It wasn't,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was good. I loved Chadwick Boseman. He was great, and so it's going to be interesting to see how they, deal with the fact that they have to have a new Black Panther now, and they don't tell you exactly who it's going to be in the suit in the trailer, but you do get a quick clip. And the trailer, it did like a really cool. It got you very. There was a cover, a very dramatic cover to "No Woman, No Cry," the Bob Marley song,
Oh,
and
okay.
it got very epic, and then it like transitioned into Kendrick Lamar's "Be All Right," which was a big hip hop like, you know, it was like a big part of like, um, almost, it was like a protest song kind of, and it was a very big Kendrick Lamar song. So it was really cool to see that mashup of music, and it really gets the emotions going. So does what it had to do. So I don't know. I'm ready for Marvel to be done. I'm like I'm very jaded. I followed it for
Right.
years. I've watched everything. If you listen to the show, I'm not big on everything that they're doing right now.
What about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Yeah,
How do you
we'll
feel
see.
about that?
I mean, I'm happy that James Gunn is able to. He got uncanceled by Disney because he's awesome, and I'm glad to see that he's going to be able to finish his vision.
Hmm.
I would definitely be most excited for that one, probably out of anything.
Yeah, that's what I am. I'm
Yeah, yeah, no, even but like Thor: Love and Thunder. I love Thor Ragnarok. I loved Taika Waititi, the director. He's such a big name now, but he just seems like he's getting so big in Hollywood. He's like cocky and he's like drinking his old Kool-Aid a little bit too much. Like I'm kind of getting sick of him. Like he's a cocky son of a bitch.
Is
Like
he? Oh,
he's funny. No, he's funny. He's very funny, but he's such a big Hollywood director now. Like he's in a lot of stuff. Like he's acts, but he does really good movies, but no, Thor Love and Thunder I just heard was so bad, and I'm like I can't bring myself to do it. So I haven't even watched it yet. Usually I'll go right away to see it. But
yeah. I know, and I love Natalie Portman. She's an amazing actress, but I was like, it's gonna be interesting to see how she takes this role on.
yeah. So no, I mean, look, there was a lot of things announced. The timeline was they don't really have. That's the thing. They don't have like any besides the Avengers movies. There's really not. They're not connecting anything. They're just introducing. Their name of their game right now is just keep introducing tons and tons of more characters, and that's the biggest problem right now. They don't seem like they're building towards anything. And
Yeah,
then a lot of these series, they're not even that good. You're like, oh, I can see when this character is going to interact with all the other characters, I can see them being very fun. But in their own story, you do the basic setup, the basic hero journey, and it's like the movies aren't even good. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I have a question for you, and it's also a premonition. because
Okay.
I think it's going to happen in, I'd say maybe like between 6 to 10 years. Okay, and I want to know your take on it if it actually does.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
How would you feel when Disney takes the Marvel universe and combines it with Star Wars?
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
You don't think it'll ever
No.
happen?
No.
Disney owns those two franchise, and
No.
I think they know that people would just go absolutely berserk if you're in a Star Wars thing and like Thanos shows up or something like that, and they have to use the Force to defeat Thanos. Like, I don't know, it just
I think
something's gonna. I think
no.
something's gonna happen.
I think the exact opposite. I think if they ever even teased anything like that, I think both fan bases would completely riot in the fucking streets. Because the worlds are different. It doesn't make sense. I could see I could see
But
them
Thanos
being
can travel through time with those
no,
Infinity Rocks.
no,
Doctor
that
Strange, like,
but then you introduce canon, but those things become canon. Then Thanos is going to be canon, and like Star Wars is very toxic about canon. So now you're
mhm.
saying that Thanos exists somewhere in this world of Star. No, it's there's no way, no way. I could see what I could see is I could see Marvel because Marvel is supposed to kind of take place in the real world, like in our time.
Yeah.
I could see them referencing Star Wars in the MCU a lot more. Like they've done it before, where they reference Star Wars as like a movie franchise that exists in this universe.
Or what
That's
if,
about as that's about as
or
far as I could go.
what if they brought Star Wars characters, obviously not Darth Vader and Luke and all them, or even, Kylo Ren or anything, but, because it happened a long, long time ago, the Jedi, are still around, and then the Jedi come to help the Marvel superheroes beat the protagonists.
At this point, it would be more interesting than half of the shit that they're
New
doing.
Jedi, new
That
Jedi
would be
Knights.
that would be Rich. I think that would be the ultimate fuck it button. And I at this point I'm so disgusted with both franchises that I've followed my entire life, and I'm like, do it, fuck it, fuck it. It's bad. It's all bad. But yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. I don't. They're basically I think my biggest critique with the timeline that they announced is the only last thing I want to say is that it seems like the next two phases that they were talking about was they're just going to be doing more and more what they've been doing in phase 4, which everyone's been complaining about. They're just going to keep setting up new characters. It just seems like they're setting up, setting up, setting up, setting up. And it's like you went from like, oh, that's great. We can handle a world where there's like 25 main characters and we can put them together in a big team up movie and we can have them team up here and there. But now it's like, no, we have like 50 like plus characters being introduced and they're not building on any of them. They're just introducing them and being like, all right, you'll get a sequel in like 5 years.
Yeah.
And like so you don't get to know any of them. So that's my biggest I don't know. So they just keep adding to the pile. They just keep picking up new toys in
Yeah,
their
and they're forgetting
sandbox of
about
like
some of them.
yeah, and they just don't do anything with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess in 2024 we'll see what they do with an Avengers movie again. But until then, I don't know how much they're gonna have my attention, Rich. I don't know. I like I said, I'm seriously just starting to skip this stuff. But
There's gonna be so much, it's gonna be impossible to keep up with it.
yeah, so yeah, I mean, cool. Well, I think that's all I really got to say. I mean, I think I got like one question we can answer real quick before we wrap
Sure.
it up.
All right.
Uh, this is a simple one. Where is it? Got an anonymous message. Someone just asked favorite sci-fi movie. It's a big genre.
It is a big genre as a genre, but for me, I have to go with The Matrix.
Oh, that's a great answer.
I loved it. I love the Wachowski brothers who are sisters now. Um, but I loved the story. That was great. And I would have if V for Vendetta was a sci-fi movie, I would have said that because I actually like that more than The Matrix, but
Oh
it's not.
wow.
And but I like to I like they're the best two movies that the Wachowski brothers did. The
Hmm.
Matrix and V for Vendetta.
Oh,
But
for
I
sure.
love The Matrix. That was awesome.
Nice. Okay, cool. You had a good answer. I mean, I mean, sci-fi is such a big genre. I'm looking through like my favorite films list. I mean, I could say, I love The Iron Giant. That's technically science fiction. Uh, Classic Mad Max Fury Road. It's one of my
No.
favorites. Um, yeah, I would say Mad Max Fury Road. I guess if we're talking real sci-fi, huge fan of AI, the Steven Spielberg movie AI. That's one of my favorites. And I guess I could say Blade Runner too.
Now the original or the new one?
The original.
Okay.
I love Blade Runner so much, but you know, the world they built up, everything about it. But you know, and I watched it again recently
Hmm.
because I never saw the sequel, and I loved it so much, and I'm like, why have I never seen the new Blade Runner? But so I watched the original again, and you know, to this day, I still think only thing that movie is just really holding it back is Harrison Ford's character is not interesting at all in that movie. In Blade Runner, like Harrison Ford has like no character. He's a great actor and he's
Yeah, he
doing good.
is.
But like his character, like he has nothing. He's a boring character. Like, but everything
Mhm.
else about Blade Runner is fucking brilliant. I can watch it just for the scenery. But
That's
anyway,
yeah, it's a very interesting futuristic in the concept. I wasn't a huge fan of Blade Runner though.
really, any
Yeah.
specific reason? Just thought it was boring, or
Yeah. I was waiting for something to happen and kept waiting and waiting and waiting and then I was like, "Oh, I'm like, why do people like this so much?"
I think well,
So,
yeah, a big part of it is the world that it builds and the special effects for the time and the Ridley Scott of it all, and it
yeah.
brings up very interesting concepts. And I love the world. Like I love the world and all of the shots that it introduced. It looks so cool, and I think because it's an older movie, it has such a charm to it,
Yeah, yeah.
and like the neo noir, like cyberpunk aesthetic. It's a big aesthetic movie, and that's what I
Yeah.
love about it, and it's a good story. I like the story, but that's the only thing that it's like holding it back from being like a 10 out of 10 for me is, man, like Harrison Ford, his character is just so uninteresting. The main guy, him as a character, he's boring. But anyway,
Now, do you
so
have any
yeah.
honorable mentions that you'd like to?
I said AI, Iron Giant,
Yeah.
Mad Max, Fury Road, District 9. If you've ever seen District
No,
9.
I don't think I've ever seen District 9.
One of the few movies that has ever made me cry.
Oh.
Amazing sci-fi movie.
Oh, okay.
It's 2009, so it's not super old, but
All right. I'll have to check that out.
oh, it's a big classic. Well, not classic, but you know, like a it's a big movie that people
Yeah.
always reference. But yeah, no, District 9 is fucking brilliant. I love
All
that's
right.
definitely on my favorites of all time. Big sci-fi movie.
Nice.
So, yeah,
I
just
would
if you look up the well,
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'd like to mention like Terminator. Terminator was a great sci-fi
yes.
movie.
Oh, of course. That's a great answer. Thank you for
And then
saying the good ones.
no, 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 that's I just like I like mainstream sometimes on some of them, but the new Westworld series I really enjoy.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up in a minute, but we gotta talk about Westworld real quick. I I was gonna reference Westworld very briefly when we were talking about Game of Thrones, because Westworld was supposed to be the show that replaced Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was over. That was
Yeah.
supposed to be the next HBO flagship show. So they started in the middle of season 3, just came out.
Yeah.
So okay, so I gotta give you my take on Westworld real quick,
All
because
right.
I'm so happy because I've never met another person that watches Westworld.
I don't understand why not. Like,
Okay. Ooh, I just like dropped my
yeah,
mouth.
you're
I'm so
excited.
excited. Okay, I am. No. Okay, so Westworld first season came out. I love HBO. You know, it's a big budget fucking show. Rich, it's got everything, and concept amazing, like the Western and the sci-fi. First season, fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Second season, still loved it. It got biggest criticism about Westworld. It gets convoluted,
Hmm.
big time. But I was following it. I was like, I'm in, and they have the reveals at the end. Season 3 completely changes it up because I think they really got bad numbers on the second season. What was going on in season 3?
So, because we're in season 4 right now, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're in season 4. You're right.
Okay. All
You're
right.
right.
All right. Yes.
But season, I haven't started season 4.
Okay, but you're saying now you don't understand what happened in season 3, or
I
you want to
I
hear
I
somebody
under
else's take on it.
I understood what happened in season 3. I followed it when when Aaron Paul was in the show, and now
Yeah.
Dolores. They were in the real world and they were
Hmm.
dealing with the real world. The show, it just felt like, was completely reinventing itself, and it just was getting more and more convoluted, and I feel like it just didn't feel like it really built on anything that it was doing before. Aaron Paul was just kind of like, I felt like I just wasn't getting the fun of Westworld, that I like.
Yeah.
They're in the real, I don't know, it felt like they were getting so much more convoluted just for the sake of getting more convoluted in the plot, and I think it just lost so many people, man. Like, that's a big thing. Like, people don't watch Westworld anymore. Like, they, I think they had some traction in the first season and the second season, but man, it just,
And I
I
think
don't know.
my take on it, and especially
Yeah,
now
let me
because
hear
I'm
it.
watching season 4, is
Hmm.
that season 3 had its story, but it was pretty much a complete setup for season 4. Like,
Okay.
it's a merger season. Like, see, you got season 1, you got season 2. We took these characters out of the world and put them in the real world, and now we're going to make sense of why they're here, what they're doing, and what's going on. So in season 4, we're going to start seeing the plan come together in this war, and who's doing what and who's who. So I'm liking it.
Okay.
I'm still enjoying it. I'm still liking it. It's still very interesting, and I'm interested to see where it's going.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna watch it because I'm just, again, I was such a huge fan of the first 2 seasons. Again, like I very much, I appreciate huge budgets. I love HBO's huge
Yeah.
budgets. And when they want to do fantasy and sci-fi, man, do they back it? They
Yeah.
back it. And I loved how convoluted it was. I loved the reveals of, after the first season, and the different
Yeah. Yeah.
storylines, and it's almost like it makes it confusing on purpose. But yeah, no, man, season 3, I just felt like, they just were trying to completely redo the show or retake it. I don't know. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, so I'm gonna see. But thank you for
Yeah.
that. Okay,
They
thank you
did
for, I needed
reinvent it a little bit.
but I needed that little oomph to watch it again because I was such a huge fan of it. And I was the only one. I knew no one
Yeah.
else. But
Well, now you know me, so you can
cool.
message me. We could go back and forth on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure. All right, man. Cool. I think we've done good work. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to bring up. Anything
No,
else you wanted to
I
nerd out
think
about?
2 hours was a pretty good session.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry. Welcome to
No, don't
next
be.
round
I
on me.
enjoyed it. We talked about a lot of stuff that I've enjoyed talking about, so it was great. This was an awesome episode.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on again. And yeah, but again, I'll just, if anyone's still listening at this point, just will plug it. Just will plug. I don't have no idea how long people listen through to it, but just to plug it one more time, I am going to be on your episode coming out soon of the
Thursday.
Horoscript podcast on Thursday. I don't know when this episode is going to come out. It might come out by Wednesday, but yeah. So you'll hopefully my episode with the Horoscript podcast talking about The Hills Have Eyes will be out very soon by the time you're listening to this. Rich, where can the people find you and where can the people find your podcast? Give your plugs, sir.
Yes, yes, thank you. Yes, the Horoscope podcast. You can listen to it on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all the other platforms. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, Slasher, Facebook, all that fun stuff. So you can come and find us, reach out to us, say hi, follow us, and share us. That'd be great.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. And we'll
Oh,
have to do it
thanks
again
for having me.
soon.
I'm always available. Well,
Awesome. Yeah. I will call you at 3:00 in the morning.
nice. I'll
So.
be there.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay safe out there. Have fun at your nerd Comic Cons. We will be there one year. And enjoy all of your corporate products of entertainment. Say bye to everyone, Rich. Sign us off.
See you later.
Cut. All right.
All
I'm going to end
right.
the stream. Okay. The only
There
only
we
thing
go.
that I can't stand. Oh, yeah. Let me